Today we're going to be solving a word problem, many students' favorite type of problems, but the odds are that if you have trouble with word problems, you're not following a process. So we're going to really concentrate on the process of solving a word problem with this example. So looks like Jane rented a rug cleaner for the day. There's a rental cost for the cleaning fluid that's $9.95. The hourly cost is $6.80, and it tells us that at the end of the day her bill was $47.35. And the question is, for how many hours did Jane rent the rug cleaner? So this should always be your first step. You should read the problem carefully and understand it. And if there's a problem in there and you don't understand some word, phrase, or notation, you're not going to be able to solve the problem. So you're going to have to break it down, make sure you understand every step, every piece, and if there's something that you can't figure out, you're going to have to look it up or ask somebody or some way get to the point where you understand what's going on, because it's pointless to proceed to the next step unless you actually understand what's going on. So let's go back to our problem and just make sure that we understand it. So there is a base cost, which is $9.95. We have an hourly cost, which is $6.80, and she has rented it for a certain number of hours. We can surmise from the information, and that hourly cost plus the $9.95 will give us a total of $47.35. We just don't know how many hours she rented, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a number of hours. So here we say you should focus on the question that is being asked. So that's going to be what we have to answer. We're looking for a number of hours in this case. So step two, now that we've focused on our question, we're going to be defining a variable, and that just means we state in a sentence a letter that's going to stand for what we're looking for in the problem, and we want to make sure we know what it's standing for, because at the end of the problem we're going to end up with a solution of t equals some number, and we want to know what t stands for. So a lot of times if you don't do this step, you might end up finding the wrong thing or not knowing what you're looking for at the end. So in this case, we're going to define the letter t as our variable. It's going to be the number of hours that Jane rented the rug cleaner. Now is the most difficult step. It's actually pulling information out of the paragraph to write an equation. And once we have an equation, we can solve them with no problem using the equation solving techniques that we've learned up to this point. But actually writing the equation is the tough part for a lot of students. So it might help to write the equation out in words first, so we know that the amount of money for the cleaning fluid plus the amount of money that's charged for the hourly rate is going to equal the total amount. So we can just replace each one of those with the number or the expression that is equal to those. So our price for the cleaning fluid is $9.95. Our hourly charge is $6.80 per hour. So if we multiply $6.80 times the number of hours that she rented it, which we've already defined as the variable t, that'll give us our hourly charge. And we add those two together, we're going to say that that's equal to the total, which is $47.35. Step 4 is just solving our equation using the steps that we already know. Often when you have a decimal place in your equation, you are told to eliminate it by multiplying both sides of the equation, in this case by 100, since we have two decimal places behind each of our dots here. So I did that. You don't have to do that step if you don't want to. You're probably going to have to use a calculator anyway for these types of problems when you have numbers in the hundreds and thousands. So it would be just fine to say subtract $9.95 from both sides and divide both sides by 6.8. You'd still get the same answer of t equals 5.5. And finally, we want to not just answer the problem as t equals 5.5 when it actually asked us in the problem how many hours did Jane rent the rug cleaner for? In this case, we always should answer our word problem in the form of a sentence that answers the question that was asked. So we actually wrote it out. Jane rented the rug cleaner for 5.5 hours. Alright, if you can get those 5 steps down, you should be able to handle any type of word problem. Again, probably the steps that students miss a lot are actually reading and understanding the problem, and then the tough part is of course, writing an equation from the given information. But spelling out the equation in words is often very helpful, so I would definitely suggest that. See you next time.